be here again. Let's see, let me get share screen up here. Get my slides up. I am recovering from a pretty nasty cold, but I'm heavily medicated, so we should be all right. But if I say anything weird, that's why. Okay. I started this thing with the title, To Each His Own, to remind me that I'm not in control of anyone else, anybody else's behavior or anything like that. And it kind of grew from there. There's a nice little saying on there, which I got from Facebook. I get a lot of wisdom from Facebook. The version of me you created in your mind is not my responsibility. That's pretty cool. Oh, where's my, there we go. And what? I'm gonna have to learn how to do this. Did I do that right? To each his own. All right, so I'm gonna read step one because that directly goes to what I'm talking about today on powerlessness and unmanageability. We admitted we were powerless over others and that our lives had become unmanageable. But if you don't do that, if you don't admit you're powerless and unmanageable, you're probably going to miss out on the rest of it. But that's okay. When you get enough pain, you'll figure it out. That's what my sponsor always used to say to me. Once you hurt enough, you'll figure it out. Oh, gosh, okay. Until now, powerlessness, until now, we'd applied self-control, obsessiveness, and our own clouded thinking to our problems of living. When our relationships broke down, many of us just tried harder, applying our arsenal of misinformation with a vengeance. Our self-will took many forms. We were overbearing, we were people pleasers, we conformed, we rebelled, we blamed, we hurt ourselves and we hurt others. Some of us had to go to the edge of insanity or death before we were willing to admit our powerlessness. Where'd I go? All the while, we were convinced we were doing the right thing. Where was the success? On unmanageability, chances are that by the time we reached CoDA, our lives were out of control. The coping skills we had relied on for a lifetime were no longer working. We were the victims of a compulsive way of behaving so subtly powerful and damaging that no ordinary means can break it. Our lives were truly unmanageable. It was at this point that our old ideas began to crumble and we became open to the possibility that there might be another way. And I'm grateful for this because it tells me that my behavior is compulsive. This is what I learned from years and years of growing up. I learned it from pastors, parents, teachers, friends, social media. Of course, that wasn't around when I was a kid. But movies, television, all that stuff. I was in the Leave It to Beaver age, and I thought that's the way the family was supposed to be. It's not, but it also wasn't supposed to be like my family was. I learned that too. And here's the difference. For one child, eye contact means I care for you. I'm interested in you. And for another, it may mean I'm about to yell at you. And we don't know which one of those is going to happen. Well, around my house, we didn't know what was going to happen ever. But in the world, in the real world, where everybody gets to be exactly who they are, we don't know what's going on with them at all. There's no way we can make a judgment on what they're telling us or anything like that because we just don't have all the facts. And so, there we go. Today, we're going to be talking about different scenarios. This is going to be fun. We're going to, we find ourselves in all kinds of different scenarios, and a lot of them are rhetorical. Anybody knows what a rhetorical question is? It's more of a statement than anything else. Whoop. There we go. A rhetorical question is not a question, it's more of a statement. That's where they give you the answer already. For example, I personally know about this one. The mother asked the daughter, "You didn't get that bruise from your stepdad, did you?" Well, the answer is no. You can tell. You don't have to think about it. You just know what the answer is. And then again, I can count on you for help this year, right? Yep, the answer is yes. That's very helpful. So now, when you get a rhetorical question, all of a sudden you're stuck because people pleasers go, "Oh, of course," because it makes you sound important and helpful. And that's not necessarily true. It's just that they know you're going to do it. The real question would be, can I count on you for help this year? Rhetorical questions give you the answer, and it's controlling and manipulative. And you might have done this a time or two in your own life. Okay. Oops. Where am I? Did I miss something? No, I did not. All right. I think I have this. There we go. I'm going to throw in the levels of friendship here so that because when we're going through these scenarios, I'll be talking about, well, he's a 2 or he's a 4 or something like that. Levels of friendship, there are no zeros ever. Everybody in the world fits into one of these categories. They're either superficial, there's my medication kicking in. Superficial, casual, companionship, friendship, intimate, loving relationship, or committed partnership. I'm going to give you my email address at the end, so if you want a copy of this, I can send it to you. Handiest piece of paper I ever had. All relationships start in the superficial circle. Most relationships will remain here. This is not bad. Each level has a unique relationship, and each level can be a healthy relationship. It's never the goal to move people forward. Each person will drop into a category depending on their behaviors. And the most important thing about that is it's never the goal to move people forward. If they are a 1, they should stay at a 1. And a 1 is superficial. It's a formal public relationship with all the people in the entire world. The cashier, bank teller, mail carrier. We engage in curious communication on neutral topics. There's no expectations, no obligations. If we're considering having this relationship move forward, we begin to observe and evaluate the person before we move them forward. Most people stay here. And that's a good place to be. You'll find a lot of family members will be 1s and 2s. 2, casual, familiar. This relationship is based on common ground, such as work, school, a 12-step program. This is a crucial stage for determining whether to move this person forward. Share basic information about yourself and watch what they do with it. Look for and don't dismiss or excuse red flags. How do they treat animals? This is important stuff. I had plenty of red flags all the time, and I made excuses for them. They were having a bad day, or he's in a hurry, or he didn't call me because he's so busy. Whatever it was, I would make an excuse for it. I don't do that anymore. Do they complain a lot? How do they treat their mother? Are they a victim? Do they criticize you? Do they try to fix you? Do they try to conform to you? That's just as bad in the opposite direction. Remember, so far, you've only met their representative. That's who they want you to see. And we all do the same thing to some degree. I do it too, but I try not to. It takes about 90 days for people to drop their guard and show who they really are. Really, really wait for that before you make any major decisions, like moving in together and things like that. Number 3 is companionship. A common interest brings you together, like ski buddies, movie friends, etc. The event or activity is the bond as opposed to the kind of person they are. Get to know each other during this time. These people have proven themselves safe with basic information, so share something personal and observe if the conversation flows both ways. Do not move people forward until they have exhibited safe behaviors. If they don't, keep them here and enjoy a casual relationship. This is a good one. Each one of these relationships are totally fine. Number 1, number 2, no problem there. Those are the levels that you just don't trust people, that's all. Number 4 is friendship. They have to pass number 1, 2, and 3 before they get to 4. A partnership between 2 people who like and value each other equally. That was never I never got that equally thing going. I was always, more interested in the other person. These people have shown the healthy behaviors you look for in the first 3 types of relationships. They've proven themselves trustworthy with personal information, so you can risk sharing private information with them if you choose to, but you don't have to. As soon as I would meet people, I would tell them about my entire life story with all the grief and sadness and suffering, so they would feel sorry for me. I don't do that anymore. They have proven themselves trustworthy. Okay, you spend more time with this person and it feels closer from all the other people you know. Keep most good friends here. A 4 is a big deal. A 4 means they really put some work into it, or they're in recovery. A lot of times 4s are people in recovery. Number 5, this is where the romance starts. They have to go through 1, 2, 3, 4 before they get to a romance level. And this doesn't take a week. It takes at least 3 months so that you get to know them. An intimate, loving relationship. This is a mutually deep friendship with shared passions, trust, and respect. Your sponsor will often fit into this group. And I should have added while you're working the steps. When you discuss deeply private information, you know your privacy will be respected. Time spent together builds even more trust and respect. You can take bigger risks with each other. This is a stopping point for a select few close friendships. If they can make it up to a 5, they've been gifted. They've been given the gift of, of your trust. And then number 6, this is the gold standard of CoDA. It's a committed partnership. It's a faithful, trustworthy, loving, and fearless relationship. Fearless meaning you don't ever have to worry about them hurting you on purpose. My sense of humor gets me in trouble sometimes, but other than that, the other person isn't leaving, neither are you. It's just a committed partnership. This person is so valuable, they become an integral part of your daily life. You both share responsibility for the relationship and honor each other. 1 or 2 people at the most belong here. So if you'd like to do that at home, if you've never done this before, use a pencil and kind of put people in those levels and then read the descriptions again and see if they really belong there. Okay, so let's go over some scenarios now. This is fun. Sorry, goodness gracious. Okay, you're invited to lunch. Now, each one of these scenarios has happened to either me or a sponsor or a sponsee. So personal knowledge here. You're invited to lunch and your host's credit or debit card doesn't work when it's time to pay. What do? Do you step up and pay? And each one of these, I'm asking on the bottom that, what are you afraid of? Are you going to lose something you already have or not get something you think you want? So this is the part where we can, excuse me, raise your hand if you would like to engage in this and just say, what would you do? If this happened to you, what would you do? I, of course, have my own answer. It might be the right one, might be the wrong one, to each his own. So if you want to just raise your little virtual hand there and tell us what you would do. You're invited to lunch, they come to pay the bill, and the debit card doesn't work. You're welcome. This is a hard one because you might end up losing your friend, depending on how this goes. If they're an actual friend, this also might sort them out.
Cheers.
Thank you, Christina. And that levels of friendship is fluid. You can move people back as well as forward. So
that's right.
It's a good way to sort people out.
You are going down the ranks.
You're a 1.
You're going down to the 1.
Well, the girl that this happened to, she was only halfway through her steps. I was so proud of her. I couldn't believe it. She did nothing. She stood there and let him sort it out. She said it was the most uncomfortable 3 minutes of her life, but he didn't ask her for any help. So she let him sort it out. And if he had turned around and asked her for help, of course, she would have been there. But she didn't jump in and do anything. She just let whatever's going to happen. I couldn't believe how she could do that, because I'm not sure I would have been able to. But she just let it play out like it was supposed to. I'm always afraid for somebody else that what if they're uncomfortable? I want to, make sure that they're okay and happy, and everybody's got to be happy and comfortable and all that stuff. And it's really not my job. 95% of the things that I thought were my job are none of my business. Let's see. This is compliance and low self-esteem mixed with control. And also I wrote down here, do you want to start a relationship like this? If they were a 1 and you were thinking of moving them to a 2, or a 2 thinking about moving to a 3, this would be added into the mix. It's a red flag. If it's an accident, that's one thing. If it's happens again, that's a red flag. So, okay, that's a good one. There's so much in here that, what are you afraid of? This guy's never going to ask me out for a date again if I don't pony up and try to help. There's a lot of things that we fear that really aren't that legitimate. Let's try another one. Oh, yeah, this is a good one. Your roommate buys an air conditioning unit for the apartment without telling you first and gives you a bill for your share. Should you pay it or refuse, even though you're going to be receiving the benefit from this? And if you refuse to chip in, what might happen? Anyone want to chime in on this one? And this happened to one of my sponsees. She didn't know what to do. First, she said, I got to think about it. And she got me on the phone. And we talked about a lot of different scenarios.
What would be the best way to respond to this if this was a parent buying something and then asking you to pay?
Well, that's a good one, because a parent really isn't your roommate necessarily. That's a different scenario. They've been paying your way all your life. but it's still, it would take that conversation. Hey, I didn't budget for this. I don't, how, you're asking me something that I can't do. If you can do it, that's a different scenario. But it's a conversation. And with my sponsor, we talked about this might cause your roommate situation to implode. People get really nasty and they can hold grudges and do all kinds of terrible things. And you need to make certain that you can take those consequences if you say no. Depending on whether you can afford this, pay it and talk about future purchases. That's kind of what we decided. Go ahead and pay it since you're going to benefit from it, but then make that boundary, because there was no boundary there before. Make that boundary. If this happens again, I will not pay for it. So I just want to let you know. And that's what she did. Okay.
Karen, there was one other question not related to this. May I give that to you now?
Sure.
Earlier, you spoke about waiting 90 days before moving between levels of friendship. This person says, I forget which, if not all levels, is this 90-day guideline based on being with the person every day? Might Karen mean 90 meetings or get-togethers, perhaps?
No, it's 90 days. Technically speaking, the psychiatrists and analyst people say it takes 90 days for you to drop your pretenses and be your actual self when you're a representative. This is kind of a crazy thing, and it shows up in abusive relationships a lot, because you meet this person who's Mr. or Miss Wonderful. They're fantastic. They're romantic. They're caring. They listen to what you're saying, all of that stuff. They're funny. They're charming. And it's great. And then they drop their pretense and they're somebody completely different. So you want to get back to where the real guy is, but that's not the real guy. 90 days in, you have the real person. But everybody wants to get back. Well, if it was just the way it was when we first met, that's not the real person. So hopefully that answers your question. You. Thanks for raising your hand. This is such a tricky one because you're going to be living with this person still. There's no telling what this person's going to do if you say no. That would be my fear. I'm going to lose something. I'm going to lose my relationship with this person if I say no. So I better chip in, because they might not like me if I don't chip in. And my whole people-pleasing head would go nuts on this one. I would convince myself that I had to chip in. And that's not necessarily true. So we ended up with talking to them. She paid a little bit for it, her part in it. And then she also said, if you're struggling with finances, negotiate an amount or make an arrangement to trade something for something that they want. That's another possibility. And you can give them options like that if you don't have the cash. But yeah, she paid for it and then said, never again. Just want you to know, here's your boundary right here. So. Okay, have a really fun one. I know everybody has had this happen. You go out to dinner with friends and you're on a budget, so you only have a salad and they all eat steak and they want to split the bill equally. What do? Let's see what else we have. No, that one was good. That one was good. Oh, here's a good one. Okay, this is a real one. The tile setter who is redoing your bathroom has been working at it all day. He set all the tiles perfectly. And it's got an obvious pattern to it. They all match up except for one wall. And it's a glaring mismatch. What do? This one is just amazing. I laughed my head off when I first heard about it, because it's a glaring. And every time you go into that bathroom, you're going to see it again. Do you speak up and have him do something about word for it? It's excruciating working up the courage to do something like that when you're not used to it. But I love the way this turned out, though. While she was in the middle of this, what should I do? What should I do? They had to pull it out anyway. That's awesome. That's higher power stuff right there. Okay, let's see. This one's kind of interesting. You've always organized family get-togethers. That's just kind of because you're a control freak, you've always done this. What will happen if you don't? Should you alert your family first? I've had that. This is actually mine. This is what I used to always control everything. And that way I wouldn't be left out and I could control the venue and the air conditioning and all that stuff, so it would be something that I liked. So when I decided to stop doing this, it was actually kind of my older sister stepped in and started kind of crowding me out, and I just let her have it. There you go. And she does it now, and she does it all the time. I'm like, wow, that solved itself. I remember what I was going to say. I had a friend who would always organize get-togethers like concerts and things like that. That way she knew she would be invited. That's sad. That's very sad. And I think we're going to be wrapping up here pretty quick. So I put the helpful hints on here. Just a couple of things that I've been learning about this. Always say, let me think about it. Give yourself some distance, tell the truth without giving excuses, ask clarifying questions. Don't guess what they're thinking. Be ready to sit in an uncomfortable puddle that you just made. Don't do for others what they can do for themselves. Give them two options so they can maintain their power. Check your motives. If you get confused, call your sponsor. Don't forget to use your higher power. Remember that if you're not practicing acceptance, patience, or tolerance, you're practicing a pattern, either control, denial, compliance, avoidance. That's what I mean by that. And if you talk yourself into it, you can talk yourself back out. And that is what I have for you today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for letting me be here. It's been wonderful. I put my Gmail address in the chat, so if you need a copy of the levels, I can send those out to you.